Tonight, the province and the opposition continue to trade barbs over how to handle hospital safety. Why the taps may be running dry for some local craft breweries. And 2 Olympic champions are chosen as Canada's flag bearers for Milano Cortina.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Wednesday, January 28th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. I'm Ethan Williams. Thank you for joining us. Hospital safety continues to be on the political front burner in Saskatchewan. Both the provincial government and the opposition say something needs to change, but they can't agree on what to do first. Jeremy Warren has our top story.
The official opposition is pushing the province for more details about its hospital safety review. The NDP says it wants to know the full scope of and the deadlines for the review launched by the Health Ministry last week. NDP MLA Nathaniel Teed questions if a review is even needed and says hospital workers asked for metal detectors a year before the province installed them.
These recommendations and these processes have been done. We need action now. I think the health minister and the health ministry know what solutions need to happen.
The NDP also handed out pictures of weapons taken off people going into Saskatchewan's St. Paul's Hospital. Security seized these weapons before the province installed a metal detector there last week. But Health Minister Jeremy Cockrell says healthcare workers are saying the metal detectors are working.
Even one weapon coming into a hospital is one too many. I've said that last week. Another news conference from the NDP and another news conference with no new ideas.
Cockrell says the review will involve healthcare workers, but the province hasn't yet decided on the review's parameters or who is conducting it. He does want it done quickly.
This is not a years and years and years review. We want to turn this review around in weeks or months to make sure that, again, we can figure out what are the next steps that we need to take beyond metal detectors, beyond adding additional protective services officers.
St. Paul's Hospital also unveiled its renovated main entrance. The multi-million-dollar project adds safety features, more space, and a covered patient drop-off area. The new entrance opens to the public on Thursday. Jeremy Warren, CBC News, Saskatoon.
The province has announced it will be working with SaskPower to research how to bring a large nuclear reactor to Saskatchewan. Work will still continue on small modular reactors, including the proposed site for one near Estevan. Small and large nuclear reactors would be powered by uranium sourced in the province. But areas like research, safety consultations, site selection, and building of a large-scale reactor could take up to 15 years altogether, which is why SaskPower says it needs to start now.
This work builds on the energy security strategy and will leverage our natural uranium resources to prepare for rising electricity demand and future export opportunities, which could generate revenue for our province. SMRs are an important first step towards adding more reliable baseload power, but planning for large reactors must begin now to prepare for the future.
SaskPower says the creation of a large-scale reactor will support the economy by expanding career opportunities and provincial and international exports. All this as Premier Scott Moe says Saskatchewan is preparing for a nuclear future. Moe made the comments at the meeting of the country's premiers in Ottawa Wednesday. He also spoke about the importance of talking trade with the federal government.
I hope today and tomorrow will be the very foundation or the basis for an ongoing discussion with respect to how we are expanding the industries that are creating wealth and creating jobs for Canadians, including those in my home province of Saskatchewan. Second, how we are diversifying our trade by being in market and engaging with countries all around the world. And third, how we are keeping the medium to long-term very important outlook with respect to what our relationship from a trade perspective is going to be with the United States of America. And that's going to be very difficult in the short term with, all that we hear and all that we have heard for a number of months now.
Meanwhile, in the U.S., tensions are still high as ICE agents continue their immigration crackdown in Minneapolis. Now, a man whose name is well known in this province is finding himself in the middle of the controversy involving the U.S. law enforcement agency. Jim Pattison is under fire for planning to sell a property that would be used as a U.S. immigration processing facility. Yasmin Khanea has that story.
This giant Virginia warehouse owned by Canadian billionaire Jim Pattison could become an immigration and customs enforcement facility. In a letter to county officials, the Department of Homeland Security says it wants to buy the property in support of ICE operations, adding it may build holding and processing spaces and a guard shack.
Folks don't want to live next to a pseudo prison of sorts.
Pattison, one of Canada's richest people, owns dozens of businesses, from car dealerships to grocery chain Save On Foods. His company's real estate division bought the Virginia site in 2022 for about $7.6 million US. But now the county estimates its value could jump to roughly $50 million after improvements.
I think it's the kind of thing that companies need to think through pretty carefully.
Other Canadian companies have been criticized for doing business with ICE, including Ontario armored vehicle manufacturer Rochelle and BC tech firm Hootsuite, which according to the Globe and Mail is offering social media management services to the agency. It's all legal, but amid Donald Trump's immigration crackdown could tank public opinion, say ethics experts.
If I were a CEO, I wouldn't want my name or my company's name, my brand associated with what's going on in the States right now.
The leader of the BC Green Party now calling for a boycott of Pattison businesses.
I think as Canadians, we need to be crystal clear about who is driving, who is contributing to the crises we're facing, and how we can step up and take real actions.
BC's Attorney General is also urging Canadian companies to act carefully.
To make decisions that would not lead to some of the outcomes that we're seeing unfold in the States.
In a late statement, Jim Pattison Development says it listed the property for sale publicly and only became aware of the owner and their intentions with the building after the sale was accepted. While acknowledging how heated this issue has become, it wouldn't comment further on the sale. Yasmin Khanea, CBC News, Vancouver.
Back in this province, Saskatchewan City Hall could one day keep tabs on the quality of snow clearing by contractors. The city does not currently monitor the quality of work by the companies who clear snow. Contracts are awarded based on whoever submits the lowest bid, but Councillor Randy Donauer wants to change that. Donauer noticed a stark disparity after a big snowfall last winter. Neighborhoods he represents lagged far behind others in the city, and the quality was poor, with driveways blocked and snow pushed onto sidewalks.
I think the quality of the work that you do for the city should have some bearing on whether you get awarded work in the future as well. And that's very common practice in the private sector. I think it should be for the city as well.
City Council on Wednesday supported Donauer's request to study greater scrutiny for contractors. Donauer thinks monitoring performance could apply to other services contracted out by the city as well. People in this province are being asked to donate blood or plasma as soon as they can. Canadian Blood Services says illnesses and the extreme cold have led to cancelled appointments, and donations are way down as a result. It's not just a problem here. Canadian Blood Services says it's affecting the entire country.
During this last blast of winter weather, from about January 21st through 27th, we collected 1,500 fewer units than we were planning. So I will say thanks to the generosity of donors, hospitals have the blood that they need today, but that could change if we're unable to collect at a consistent supply.
Canadian Blood Services is looking for donors of every blood type, but it's especially interested in O-negative blood because it is compatible with all blood types. It's also used in emergencies when there's no time to check a patient's blood type. Regina Public Schools is partnering with Regina's Food Bank to introduce more food for kids in need. The partnership means more schools will get food for their meal programs and at a lower cost than before. 7 elementary schools have already benefited from the partnership, with 12 more elementary schools to be phased in over the next 2 months. It's expected to help feed 19,000 students from kindergarten through grade 8. Regina Public Schools says hunger is one of the biggest factors preventing kids from learning.
This has really delivered the food to the building, in most cases prepared, ready to eat. That lets our staff focus on their work, which is obviously preparing lessons and teaching kids. And most importantly, it gives nutritious food that kids want to eat, a chance to get that roadblock of hunger out of the way and focus on learning, which is their job.
Money for the program is coming from both the provincial government and the National School Food Program. $320,000 is being provided for its first year. Well, the first day in a while where it actually wasn't terrible to be outside. Who knew minus 15 would feel balmy after our dip into the cold snap? And there are even warmer days ahead with likely some melting happening. But weather specialist Mickey Wolf says there may be some snow with that warm weather too. She has her forecast after the break. Welcome back. It can get pretty stressful following world politics lately, and in times past, people might have drowned their sorrows in a cold beer. And for a while there, they were choosing increasingly local craft pints. But that, as Colleen Silverthorne tells us, is changing.
It's an uncertain time in Saskatchewan's craft beer industry. Some breweries say it's never been better, but others are struggling. They say profits are shrinking and inputs are soaring.
It's obviously in aluminum and ingredients, kind of everywhere across the board. They've gone up a little bit over the past year, obviously with troubles within trade.
We've spoken to several craft breweries that say it's a challenging time. Costs are up and drinking habits are changing. Some breweries have merged just to keep their businesses afloat.
One of those is District Brewing. They're merging with Pattison Brewing. That beer, once made in Saskatchewan, will now be brewed out of District's Regina plant. McPherson hopes the move will keep both beers flowing.
But we've seen, especially in younger people, the younger generation coming up, that drinking habits are declining very heavily, not just within the craft beer space, but within that as a whole, whether that's just choosing healthier alternatives, switching to alternatives such as cannabis, or just overall reducing their alcohol consumption.
But not all craft breweries are facing the same cash crunch, and a recent increase in brewery mergers might be helping.
So now that there are a few less craft breweries, or maybe making a little less hoppy beers, which we still make quite a few hoppy beers, the price has actually decreased like almost 50%. So hop prices are down, our yeast prices are down.
Smith says their sales are up, but he agrees drinking habits have changed.
We don't see people as much fully abstaining from alcohol, but switching it out. So if they would normally have 2 beers here, one of those beers might be a non-alcoholic beer.
Both Multinational and District have added non-alcoholic beers to their lineup. It's a trend they don't see disappearing anytime soon. Colleen Silverthorne, CBC News, Regina.
Weather specialist Mickey Wolf joining us now. I have a feeling a few of us may be able to maybe crack a beer on a patio with how warm it's going to get, Mickey, or maybe it's a little too early for that.
You know what, Ethan? I think for some folks, you've just given them the encouragement they need to get out on those patios this weekend. There we go. We're seeing warmer weather across the province as we slide into Friday. But first, let's take a look at some of the cold still lingering across the province. We've got that cold warning still hanging on for Stony Rapids and Black Lake. We are seeing wind chill in excess of minus 45 tonight. But things are looking up as we get into tomorrow for folks in the far north. And today, that daytime high of +1 for Maple Creek probably felt very nice. Things were relatively warmer for Saskatchewan and Regina today as well. And you know, minus 14, minus 13, I'll take it. Taking a look at our skies now over the past few hours, we are seeing a little bit of mixed flurries here and there, especially in the southwest. But how much snow should we expect as we get into the week? When do we expect it? Well, Thursday, we are going to see some snow, especially for the central region, Saskatchewan for sure, tomorrow. And then as we get into overnight Friday into Saturday, we are going to see a little bit more snowfall across the province. But how much? That's the question on everybody's minds. We're just going to see that kind of 4 centimeter range for Saskatoon, and then Meadow Lake might see a little bit of a heavier snowfall, also Hudson Bay. So definitely seeing more of a concentration of that snowfall in the central part of the province. As for the far north, we are going to get a moderate amount of snowfall, especially for La Loche and Buffalo Narrows. But on to that wind chill, we are seeing, I'll take it again. We're seeing a bit of a warm up for Regina and Saskatoon tomorrow compared to what we've been seeing over the past week for the province. Things are going to feel quite warm tomorrow for Maple Creek as well. And getting to that warm snapshot for the week, again, Regina, we're going to see a little bit of snow Saturday, 1 to 3 centimeters, and that warmer weekend to welcome us into February on Sunday. As well for Saskatoon, we're seeing those temperatures right at 0 for Saturday, 1 to 3 centimeters, and Thursday, potentially 2 to 4 centimeters. So we might see a little bit more snowfall accumulation for Saskatoon. Then as we get into February, Sunday, we're going to see a beautiful week ahead of us, a little bit warmer than normal, but I personally am looking forward to it. Ethan, I might brave a patio. I don't know which ones would be open necessarily, but maybe they're out there.
And maybe you can use that extra snow to keep your beer nice and cold.
Great idea, Ethan.
Okay, thank you, Mickey.
Thank you.
A pair of Olympic champions have been named Canada's flag bearers for the opening ceremony of the upcoming Winter Games in Italy. Alexander Silberman now with who they are and why they were chosen.
Two powerhouse freestyle skiers will lead Team Canada into the start of the Milano Cortina Games. Olympic champions Mikael Kingsbury and Marielle Thompson were unveiled as flag bearers. The pair will have the honor of carrying the maple leaf during the opening ceremony in Livigno Snow Park.
I had goosebumps. And to be selected is really special and incredible.
This is the 4th Olympics for the skiers, who both made their debut in Sochi in 2014. They're the same age, both 33, and their successful careers started at the same time. Team Canada says Thompson and Kingsbury were selected not only for their performance, but also for career longevity in challenging sports. Thompson, a 2-time medalist in ski cross from Whistler, BC, won gold in Sochi and silver in Beijing. She has 36 World Cup wins. Her career is marked by challenges after bouncing back from 2 serious ACL injuries that required intensive surgery.
So to be able to lead Canada after overcoming a lot of things this past year is really special, and I can't wait.
Just this past weekend, Thompson had her 74th career World Cup podium, ranking her 2nd all-time in ski cross. Kingsbury, her co-flag bearer, is also coming off a milestone finish. The Quebecer recently earned his 100th World Cup victory, the first freestyle skier to accomplish that feat. He's widely considered the greatest mogul skier of all time. Kingsbury has medaled at all 3 Olympics he's competed in: silver in Sochi in 2014, gold in Pyeongchang in 2018, and silver in Beijing in 2022. He says becoming a flag bearer is a recognition that stands out.
The best honor I've ever received in my life, and as a Canadian in sport, I think this is one of the biggest you can get.
Kingsbury will have 2 opportunities to medal in Milano Cortina, since the dual moguls event was added, where 2 skiers compete side by side on the same course. Both of Canada's flag bearers will be athletes to keep a close eye on as top contenders to reach the podium. Alexander Silberman, CBC News, Regina.
And CBC is your host broadcaster for Milano Cortina 2026. That includes the opening ceremony. You can watch that live on Friday, February 6th on CBC Television. And CBC Saskatchewan News, by the way, will air at 5 p.m. local time on CBC Television during the Olympics. In other sports news, the Saskatchewan Roughriders have parted ways with Sean Bain Jr. The wide receiver spent 3 seasons with the team. Bain Jr. blasted onto the scene with the green and white in 2023 with 93 catches for over 1,100 yards total, along with 4 touchdowns. In all, he played 36 games with the Riders. Prior to that, he was with Calgary for the 2021 and 2022 seasons. Born in Florida and a product of Northwest Missouri State University, Bain Jr. was set to become a free agent this year. Stay with us. We're back after the break. Welcome back. Sask Energy is honoring over 100 charitable groups in the province with grants. They are funded through its Share the Warmth program. The latest recipient of its grant program is Eagle Heart Centre in Regina. The centre received the grant Wednesday through its Holiday Hampers of Hope project. Eagle Heart helps people in need in and around Regina, including those facing hard times financially.
We keep people warm throughout the winter, and we like to share that warmth through the community in other ways, through our community impact and our community reach, by helping these nonprofit and charitable organizations help the members of their community stay warm. We like to lend a helping hand where and when we can, and this is one of the ways that Sask Energy does that.
Have a good day. Other Share the Warmth events will take place in the coming month in Moose Jaw, North Battleford, and Tisdale. And Mickey, it seems like Mother Nature is going to be sharing the warmth with us in Saskatchewan in the coming days.
Oh, indeed, Ethan. Mother Nature is bountiful, and she is going to share a nice amount of warm weather with us. First, we've got to get through some lows tonight. Things will feel chilly, so let's take a look at that here, folks. In southern Saskatchewan, especially that southeast area and east central, we are seeing those overnight lows near -28, feeling like -30, so definitely colder on the Manitoba border side of the province. But elsewhere, we are seeing a little bit more moderation in terms of our overnight lows, ranging from -10 to -17. And in the far north, again, Stony Rapids and Black Lake is going to see that cold warning tonight. We're seeing potentially wind chill near -45, but otherwise things are looking a little bit warmer for the Churchill region, and we are going to see a nice warm up as we get into tomorrow for the north, and hopefully that cold warning will leave folks alone in the far north. Finally, we'll be out of that as we get into the midday, and it's going to be a beautiful day across south and central Saskatchewan, especially for Maple Creek. We're seeing low single digits there, and Saskatoon and Regina, we're hovering near -11, -12, so Ethan, it's a good time to start getting out again on our lunch breaks. I feel like I haven't been able to say that for a while.
It's been very nice, and I think people will start taking the snow over the cold after how cold it's been the last few days.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Mickey.
Thank you.
And that is our news for this Wednesday. For more news anytime, you can head to cbc.ca/sask or subscribe to the CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel or download the CBC News app on your smartphone or tablet. Thanks so much for watching.